So let's go to our next presentation. Good title again, start the conversation and triple the conversion. Again, I think that's what most people listening and watching want to do. It's Ulf Loetschert, co-founder of LoyJoy. Ulf, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm excited to be back here at MadFest. So I'm tuning in from Germany, and I hear you guys in the UK going to be back in the pub in a few weeks. So I guess we will be staying at home a bit longer and wait for our vaccination. But anyway, yeah, in the next 5 minutes, I want to talk about how brands can profit from using chatbots in their customer journey and really actually triple their conversion. And yeah, I want to start with a little fact that I guess it's important to know. Today, over 90% of consumers are already chatting regularly. So this is almost like everyone who's using the internet. So this includes not only like generation X, Y, and Z, but this is also like the silver agers that are using chat heavily to connect with friends and family. And yeah, of course, brands already know this and they reacted and they use chat in their customer journey as well. So, but what do they make of it actually? And I believe they're doing it wrong. So the first thing is they mostly focus on the use case of the customer service. So this is a typical chatbot here that is trying to answer questions, but I think it's not only a bit boring to start with that use case, but it's also a very critical part of the customer journey. So people might be already annoyed and not in the best mood. And then to present them with this automated chat, well, it's not the best starting point, I believe. And the second thing is that most brands overestimate the impact of AI. So I have a very old example of Siri reacting really badly here. So this is solved, of course, but AI to work, it needs a lot of training data from your brand, and most brands don't have that. And so, of course, it's also nowhere near any human intelligence. But I believe it doesn't have to be, because what we do for our customers is to really focus on use cases that bring more joy into the customer journey. And I want to share an example with you of a brand later on. So what can you focus on instead? So not only talking about what's not working well, but for example, if you have forms in your customer journey, and I guess most brands will have a lot of forms, they are not very motivating to fill them out, and also a bit boring. So switch from forms to chat, and you will increase the conversion. In this case, the conversion to double opt-in by 230%. And you see on the right-hand side a chat with animated GIFs, with animations here in the background. So adding gamification increases it by another 30%. So that means tripling it overall. And for example, we work for Nivea in today over 50 countries. And in December, we had the conversational advent calendar, which was a great success to collect first-party data and GDPR-compliant permissions. So people really signed up for the My Nivea program in the chat here as well. And so we really crushed last year's results, which was based on a form, on a regular web form advent calendar, by 5 times. So we had 5 times more participants. And in the end, we asked for the Net Promoter Score, which was with 80, so 100 would be the maximum. And Amazon is said to have 40, so 80 is really great. So people love the experience. And you can integrate it, for example, here also into your social channels. So this is an example here from Instagram. I have a story here. I swipe up in the story and I'm getting directly into the chat conversation. So this is exciting. And this asks me, do you like Christmas? And I say yes. And it starts to snow on my screen. So it's really a gamification that people love. And they write it into the chat as well. So here are some examples of what people wrote into the chat, even though we don't ask them in the advent calendar. Thousands and thousands of messages every day. And they take a look at what they say. So they really love it. they say it's beautiful and great to have this personal connection, even though they know it's automated, but just by a great conversation design, people enjoy it very much. And of course, now we're using it on a lot of different steps in the customer journey of Nivea, for example. And yeah, I hope you're interested. So if you have more questions, just let's chat and get in touch.
Well, thank you so much. Got time for questions. Great presentation. First mention of Christmas with the conversational Advent Calendar, which is very good. Always keen to hear more about Christmas. So I think what was interesting for me before we get to the audience questions is you talked about, that AI doesn't always deliver and that some brands don't have enough data to make it actually work well. So do you think that's going to change in the next year or so as brands get more on top of collecting better data?
Well, there are some newer algorithms that don't depend on that much training data, but they learn from documents that you provide them. So yeah, this is all already delivering. But in regards to brand safety, it's more like a black box. So the algorithm basically decides what is the right answer based on, for example, documents or websites that you provide. So the brand doesn't have the full control over what will be the answer to a new question. And this comes with new problems, but definitely the technology is evolving very rapidly. Yeah.
You mentioned Nivea at the end, and obviously, brands have been digging into this conversational commerce idea with greater or less success over the years. What vertical sectors have been having the most success here, do you think?
Can you say the last part again?
What vertical sectors? Is it beauty or travel or entertainment having the most success?
Yeah, so we work a lot for consumer brands, for example, because today they have problems to connect at all with their consumers because people buy it online, they buy it in stores. And so, for example, Nivea, normally they don't know who buys the product. So for them, it's important to get to know their consumers and build personal relationships. But I think every brand that wants to connect on a digital level, so for example, also in the insurance and financial industry, where you're kind of distant, have a kind of distant relationship, this can also help a lot. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Great presentation.